Hi there. This is Dr. Ilya Skolnikov from Triad Health Family Healing Center. Welcome to our autoimmune series. Today we're talking a little bit about what in the world is the thing that's underlying or causing the autoimmune disease. Actually, it's kind of bright in here. Let me see if I can get some glasses or something. That would be a good idea. These are my wife's glasses. Hopefully I don't get in trouble. All right, so the thing that's behind autoimmune disease, we already know is a digestive disorder. But the thing that we have not really considered about this particular digestive disorder is the organs and glands involved. By the way, check out this view here. This is my mother's place, of all places. That's kind of the front of me. There's the side of me. There's the other side of me. And there's the front of me again. The back of me is easy to see because that's behind me. Okay, I hope you think these glasses are interesting. I just don't want to hurt my eyes, basically. So what is this digestive thing all about? Okay, well, let me tell you what it's about. So digestion happens first when we think about the food we're going to eat. That's the first thing that happens. So when we start to think about that food, we salivate, and when that saliva enters our mouth, once we actually put the food in there and start chewing, it helps to break down the food. There's a lot of important things about this. I don't want to make it too complex, but we can pull out certain chemicals out of the food, such as iodine, when we're chewing the food, and that's done with salivary enzymes like salivary amylase, protease, maltase, lactase, and there's a variety of different types of enzymes. That's a few of them. So that's important because if you digest the food and the parotid glands and the sublingual salivary glands and the other glands aren't really working right, then even though you chew it and you have stomach acid and you bring it into your intestines, you won't be able to pull the right nutrients out of the food. So that's one part of digestion. That's the gustatory portion of digestion. That's really important because if you can't get out the iodine out of the food, don't forget, iodine is what's needed to make T1, T2, T3, and T4. It's not clear from the research what T1 and T2 are for, but T3 is the active thyroid hormone, and T4 is the inactive thyroid hormone, called thyroxine. T3 is triiodothyronine. T3, think of that as the jet fuel that you need to have energy and stamina and drive and muscle function. Well, not just muscle function, but muscle strength and power and size, muscle size, right? T3 is really important. T4 is like the crude oil that needs to be broken down into T3. So you can't actually get a lot of value from T4 until you break it down into the free T3, the active T3, the T3 that causes change in target organs and glands. And one of the symptoms that people with autoimmune disease and thyroid disease have is feeling cold. They get cold hands and feet. So we'll get cold hands and feet when we have thyroid disease, basically, or when we're having a low thyroid, or we're having a basophil problem. The basophils are some white blood cells that come from liver. The histamines, well, they come from having a healthy liver, but they're also part of the immune system. There's the innate immunity, and then there's adaptive immunity. So they're more involved in the innate immunity. The innate immunity is the immediate immune response if you have a trauma like a hematoma, when you smack your part of your body really hard and then the blood vessels pop and there's inflammation, pain, redness, and swelling at the sign of injury. Okay, so anyway, let's just keep going, okay? So you got to have the proper enzymes. So that could be a problem if you don't. So a problem with the parotid, like let's say parotid disease would be one thing that could happen. That's a type of an autoimmune disease. The other thing could be the swallowing of the food. That's possible. That's the esophagus and the muscles of the throat. That's part of something called the stomatognathous system, which has to do with the head and the neck. The sternocleido-occipital mastoid. So the sternocleido-occipital mastoid is part of the stomatognathous system. So the muscles and joints and bones of the head and neck and the upper torso over here. So such as the SCM, this muscle here that brings your head in that direction, that's part of that system. Oh, there's my wife. She's really beautiful. Let me see if you can see her. Oh, we can't change the phone. Sorry. You have to just see her like that. See? There she is. Can you see her?
Hello?
Yeah, you can see her. You can see her. Okay. It's just a little hard because, okay. All right, so the next thing that we want to do is have proper stomach function. Now, what they're not always mentioning necessarily when healthcare providers and other people are talking about autoimmune disease, they're not really talking about, where is the autoimmune disease coming from. Sometimes they are. I mean, I don't want to be negative here. Sometimes they do talk a lot about stomach function. But stomach function is super duper important because about 75% or even 80% of digestion happens in the stomach. So if the person's stomach isn't working right, they're in big doggy doo-doo. They're in deep merde. And I guess that's French. No, that's German. Okay. No, Scheiß is German. Merde is French. Okay, anyway, you know what I'm saying. It's like in English we say, you're up a certain creek without a paddle. So anyway, if you're in that situation, you're having trouble with the macro minerals like calcium and magnesium and potassium, just being able to break them down and get them out of your food. And then the other thing that'll happen is you're going to have trouble with getting the proteins to be broken down, and that's not so good. So then you can't break the proteins like from meats, from fish, lamb, beef, duck, chicken, turkey, that kind of thing, fowl. You can't break them down into the amino acids that are then broken down into the neurotransmitters. So it's the neuropeptides. It's really the peptides that are the sort of the raw particulate material needed to make these neurotransmitters and to make these chemicals which are involved in inflammation and pain and swelling and healing, the healing response, sleeping, nerve function, emotions, etc. Okay, that's why they have that expression, I had a gut feeling about this, I knew something wasn't wrong, I knew we shouldn't have been there that day. Johnny, if you'd listened to me, we wouldn't be in jail right now on this Friday night. Well, the reason why we have those feelings or those gut feelings is because we literally do have more nerve connections in our guts than we do in our brain. Incredible. We have more cells in our guts than we do in our brain. As a matter of fact, we have approximately 10 times more, more cells in our guts than in our brain. Yeah. Okay, this is a long video. It's been over 8 minutes. So it's not just stomach function that's important. If you don't have a good calcium and magnesium balance, your emotional state is just terrible. And you can have muscle cramps, you can have difficulties with brain function, without breaking down and metabolizing B12 and folic acid and B6 properly. You have an unhealthy heart, you have an unhealthy liver. That actually leads to heart disease due to the methylation pathway. So you can't break down create B12, which requires cobalt, which is an important mineral. You can't make the B12. You can't metabolize the B12 without the cobalt, the important mineral that's metabolized in the colon, along with healthy bacteria in the colon. So as you can see, this is kind of like a complex system, right? Digestion is pretty complex. So again, without having proper digestion, without being able to have friendly bacteria in the colon, without being able to have a healthy colon, you can't metabolize vitamin D. So right now, as you can see, I got my sunglasses on, I'm hanging out in the sun. I actually should have my shirt off, but it looks bad for these videos, so I don't want to do that. You are not able to metabolize the healthy, free, active form of vitamin D without getting sunlight. You can take supplements and all this kind of stuff, but they don't really work too well. You need to metabolize the vitamin D in your colon, and you can only do that. It's a colon-based nutrient. In other words, it really supports healthy colon function and vice versa. And you can only really do that if you have the friendly bacteria in the colon, you have a healthy colon, you have a healthy liver, and you have healthy kidneys, and you have enough protein to be able to metabolize the vitamin D, which is a sterol. So you need to have, it's very similar to cholesterol, a little bit different, but very similar. Oh boy, this is getting me tired talking about all these things. Okay, so for good digestion, there's lots of organs and glands involved. Not many people, again, almost nobody is talking about the common integument. I mean, they're not talking about the common integument. They're not talking about the mucoid associated lymphatic tissue or the gut associated lymphatic tissue. So they're not talking about all these things. They really should be. They're not talking about the sugars, especially the ones that are like a fructose type sugars, fructose, sucrose. There's others, but they're not really talking about these. So some of these sugars, especially fructose, which comes from fruit, can be really hard on the gut. It can raise the AGEs, the advanced glycosylated end products, the AGEs. Those AGEs cause aging and all kinds of problems. So heart disease has been directly linked to sugar, AGEs, C-reactive protein, which is a sign of inflammation, homocysteine, which is due to inability to methylate, meaning there's a problem with levels of the vitamin B6, vitamin B12, or vitamin folate, which is another B vitamin, folic acid, or a methyl donor, which is a particle of CH3, so carbon and 3 hydrogens. You use one of those hydrogens to donate that methyl group, the methyl. Okay, that is basically a methyl. So the best source of that, one of the best sources, there's a couple, but one of the best sources of a good methyl donor would be beets. That's how they're getting all their nutritional supplements, is they're getting the methyls from the beets. Okay, folate, or folic acid comes from green leafy vegetables, or at least that's one of the best ways to get it. Another good source of another good source of folate would be from the kidneys. So, anyway, so not being able to methylate will lead to heart disease for sure. So that's why a lot of these companies will put together products with like B12, B6, and folic acid and a methyl donor to try to help combat these people who are susceptible to heart disease. And there's all these rumors about, oh, well, if you can't, methylate the B12, actually, if you can't methylate the folic acid or the B12, if you can't methylate folic acid, you're going to need 5-methyl tetrahydrofolate, 5 MTHP. That's true. I mean, I guess. But we just help people with that stuff in our office. So that's why it's like, if you're listening to this, look, it's not what you're being told. Okay, we just help people in like 1 or 2 visits to methylate the folic acid, and they don't have a problem. Oh, I can't methylate B12. I can't have cyanocobalamin, which basically has cyanide, a toxic chemical used to kill things, cyanide attached to the cobalamin. So if you can't methylate the cyanocobalamin, they say, well, I need methylcobalamin, or I need adenosocobalamin or something like that. But I think it's fine. I think, we help people with that in our office also. We help them with the active form of B6, so they don't need to have pyridoxine hydrochloride. They can just get pyridoxal 5-phosphate, which is the coenzyme, the active portion of the vitamin, the one that's already been pre-digested, so to speak, so you don't have to really digest it all the way. Okay. All right. Hope you like that little special effect there. All right, that's pretty much what I wanted to talk to you guys about. So you need good the thing that I was telling you about a minute ago. The common integument involves the lips, the smelling of the food, the mouth, the esophagus, the stomach, the gallbladder, the liver, the ileocecal valve, the small intestine, which includes the duodenum, the jejunum, the ileum, and the ileocecal valve, I just said twice, I think, the ascending colon, the hepatic flexure of the colon, the transverse colon, the splenic flexure of the colon, the descending colon, the sigmoid colon, the bowels of Houston, and the anus. Those are the main organs and glands involved in digestion, and it's best to have those organs and glands working properly if you want to digest your food and you don't want to have autoimmune disease. Thanks for watching. If you're seeing this on Facebook, share it with somebody that you know. If you're seeing it on YouTube, you know, follow us. Share this with people you know. Give us a love. Give us a love or a surprise face. That's a surprise face. You know how the love works, right? Let me show you the love. Hold on, guys. This is how you do the love. Love is like this. It's the love. You know that old show on TV, guys? The Love Boat. It's an exciting ending, and it's true. We'll be there for you. The Love Boat. Yeah, so you got to give us a love. Don't give us a thumb up. Give us a love. Give us a happy face. Give us a smiley face. All right. And share with people you know. We'll see you at the next video. Over and out. Peace.